My research is on the correlation between video game popularity and unemployment. I wanted to do this research because I grew up playing video games with my family, and especially my brother. But as time went on and I played more and more, I found it would impact my ability to get work done unless I was on top of it. It made me think about what kind of impact it could have on the unemployment rate and the effect being unemployed could have on video game popularity. So simply put, do people play a lot of video games and in turn are unemployed, or do people become unemployed for other reasons and now have more time for video games? Unemployment has always been a topic of discussion, and this graph shows the unemployment in the U.S. from 1999 to 2020. And even just in this short amount of time, we have seen crazy unemployment swings. And the big swings have mostly been caused from recessions or natural disasters or emergencies, such as COVID, as we see the spike in 2020. My research, however, isn't focused on the big swings, but more of the slow and steady increase or decrease we could see from population habits. So, video games. They're now the most lucrative entertainment industry in the world, with global revenue over 140 billion per year. In 2000, it was barely over 40 billion. And the growth in this industry has been rapid and it's only going to keep increasing. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that in 2019, the population over 15 that plays video games plays 2.2 hours per day, including full-time working adults. A paper by Berta and Hamamesh found that the differences in time market between the employed and unemployed population is found in the leisure time, which makes me wonder how much time do the unemployed spend playing video games? And this leads me to my methodology. So to test for causality between the two, I am using Granger Causality opposed to a regression. I am doing this as a simple way to test which way the causality flows. So this is a method that was created by Granger in 1969 and it was used to analyze the causality between two variables. In my case, X and Y are video game revenue, and video game revenue is the proxy for video game popularity and the unemployment rate. And they will be interchanged to determine which direction the causality is going. So the lag order will be 1 to account for lagged results. And my null hypothesis is that Y does not Granger cause X. So I'm testing the causality at a 90% significance level instead of the usual and very common 95, because I believe since I have less data than most studies usually have, the results would be less accurate. So to be able to reject my null hypothesis, I should have a wider range of results that would reject it. So the data I gathered came from highly respected companies that provide market and consumer data, such as Canoma, Statista, and Macro Trends. And all the data that I'm using is from 2010 to 2020, and it's based on 17 of the top 20 countries in video game revenue. I didn't go farther back because the data prior to that was honestly just unavailable to me. So the results. In the first table, it shows the model I ran and the results from video game popularity affecting the unemployment rate. In only 3 countries, France, Korea, and Russia, resulted in a p-value of 0.1 or less, which would reject the null hypothesis. That means in those countries, video game popularity Granger causes unemployment. And the second table shows the results from the second model, which is unemployment does not Granger cause video game popularity. And just like the first, it showed 3 countries that would reject the null hypothesis: Germany, Korea, and the Netherlands. And Korea is the only country that rejects the null hypothesis in both models, which means in Korea, video game popularity affects the unemployment rate, and the unemployment rate affects video game popularity. So what does this mean? I honestly expected there to be more of a relationship than between video game popularity and the unemployment rate than what was found. it found that in most countries with a massive video game industry, there is no relation between the two. Um, and honestly, this could be accurate, but the results might not be perfect due to the lack of data that's available on the topic. However, it still gives some insight to the potential of video game affecting the unemployment rate and vice versa. And I think future research could focus, or when there's future research with more long term data available, it could be centered around potential problems this type of unemployment could cause if it shows that there is indeed a connection between the two.